Hi, welcome to a new Sketchbook tour video. It's been a while. It has been a while since my last one. I think probably the last one I said, oh, I'll do one of these every week, and then it never happened. But I do plan to change that, especially starting as of next week. I'm planning, I'm not promising to start doing like little doodle videos every single day. Now that might turn into a couple of times a week, but it's I'm feeling quite motivated to do it, and while work is a little bit quiet, I feel like now's as good a time as any. So anyway, I've managed to fill a few sketchbooks since my last video, even more than the few that I'm going to be sharing today. But I just want to sort of highlight a few things. I'm going to keep this quite brisk. I tend to waffle on a little bit, I think. So anyway, I'm not quite sure where we were in the last sketchbook tour video, but I'm pretty sure it was this book I was working on. So I finished that. And these are all mostly studies. In fact, I think I was a little bit further on than that. So I was doing lots of figure stuff, and then I moved on to some clothed figures, all from reference. Yeah, I might have already shown these, but hey ho. Yeah, I think we might have been around here. Not that it really matters. So yeah, same sort of thing, a lot of line art. Experiment with a few different ways to approach study. I think this was January, so it was a good few months ago. Then I started doing some anatomy studies from what I remember, so deconstructing the skull and trying to learn each individual bone alongside some gesture stuff. And from what I remember, I was doing quite a lot every day. I was waking up at roughly 5 in the morning, between 5 and like 7, just to try and get an hour or two in. Because I believe at the time I was relatively busy with commission work, which unfortunately has dried up a little bit, hence why I'll probably be doing a lot more videos. But it is what it is. There's an ebb and flow to freelancing. And to be honest, I'm still trying to figure things out a little bit. Moving on to some of the muscles. And I did have a study plan done for the year, and I managed to stick at it for a few weeks. And then I tried again with a monthly anatomy list. And again, I got a week into it and stopped. So my new approach is to just draw whatever I want. Not be tied down too much, because you know life doesn't really work in such an orderly way, does it? So but I still come back to anatomy at least once or twice a week. So yeah, that was January, February, I think I finished that one. This one's more of a doodle book. I think there's a few studies in here. I mean, I think there might have even been a book in between this, but this is what I've got. And I really got into brush pen now. This was maybe back end of February, March, April. This is some studies I did on a bus, which wasn't a good idea. I don't know if you can see, but pretty jaggly lines. These are all made up people. A lot of these are without a reference. Usual kind of shape things. These are with a reference, as are these. But yeah, getting really into using a brush pen again, which is a Pentel Feud. I think that's how you say it. It's basically there's also the Pentel Art brush, which is very similar. The one I like is a Feud, I think. F-U-D-E. I'll leave a link in the description for it. and I like the extra fine one, especially for these little books, because I like to draw relatively small. Some character doodles, so these are without a reference. I vaguely remember doing them. This was probably the best drawing for how I feel about it anyway. No reference. It feels very Alien, the film Alien. Yeah, but it just sort of came out like these things sometimes do. I remember being very happy with it. And then these were all drawn on my lap. It's a recent yarn show. So my partner, Liz, if you don't know, which you probably don't, she goes by the Yarn Badger, and she dyes self-striping yarn for people to knit into socks and well, whatever they want to knit them into, but typically socks. And she does these craft shows, so I'm always travelling about with her. And this is what I managed to do on my lap while I was there, trying to keep myself busy, because I'm not a knitter or anything like that. There's kind of nothing there to keep me entertained apart from this sketchbook and chatting to some of the other store holders. There is the odd sort of started page and then move away. Tends to be something I do when I'm just randomly drawing out and about. Sort of start something and then get caught up with something else and whatever else. Now I think this is a little bit later on. Some more reference studies. I was really trying to get better at drawing faces, especially around the eyes. Sort of a random idea that I then sort of turned into something else. Again, no reference. That's probably another drawing that I like in this. And it sort of harpens back to the old way I used to draw, which was a lot more grotesque and disturbing, but with the added knowledge of anatomy and things like that. I was getting a lot of Kim Jung-gi comparisons, which I can see, but that wasn't necessarily what I was aiming towards. But yeah, I can see it. It's funny, other artists inspire me sort of indirectly, but I can see the similarities in some of the things that I do. I'm by no means at that level. Again, just sort of randomly doodling, trying to figure things out. These are mainly like warm-up pages. So this is a different type of Pentel brush that I got. Comes in a pack of 4 with different colours, so I was experimenting a little bit. This is around the time that I was doing some Animal Crossing drawings. On Instagram, I like to occasionally do polls and do fan art style things, do known characters in my style. So yeah, that week it was Animal Crossing. It's a unusual Batman. A very happy Batman, a Joker. Trying to figure that out. Yeah, it's very, very face orientated, this book. So I was really trying to figure out, trying to do some perspectives things. Bit of a false start there. Oh, some self-portraits. This one's probably the closest. Again, these are warm-ups, you know. But there's the odd alright one. I've been quite happy with that one. Some gesture, figure sketches. some more portraits. Now at this time, this is not too long ago, maybe a week or two ago, I started using biros. I think they're ballpoint pens, aren't they? Which is very close to drawing with a pencil for me, because you can lightly put on a couple of lines and sort of figure things out a little bit. So I'm kind of into that more than the brush pens now. But I have started doing lots of variety with the pens. For the longest time I was just using, like with this book, I was using the one pen all the way through it, and I've been like that for like a year or so. But yeah. And then I got into the sort of imaginary buildings and robot drawings. There's a way to progress the shape drawings that I do. So like this is all from imagination, but it's basically me doing those shape drawings I do, the 3D shapes, which are like this, but trying to put it inside of a scene or like a concept design kind of way, doing things. So I started with the building, and then I did the robot, and that's it. Now this book took roughly, I don't know, a month or two, but I was chipping away at it. I've got a few on the go at the minute, and some of them are more rough than others. That's kind of like my rough book, or it was. And then this is my nice book, my experimenting book, which started, it was going to be an anatomy book, which is why there's teeth and skulls and necks and things, and then some hands. And then, and anyone that follows me on Instagram who might have seen the post, I have started moving on to using a lot of my own references again. Now, when it was COVID and lockdown, I got into the habit of using online references, things like the Croquet Cafe that I've mentioned before for life drawing, but even things that I might have had around the house, I would look on Pinterest or Google image search instead of actually drawing something that's in front of me. Now, not always. If there was an object that I had in front of me, yes, if it was right there, I would draw it, but I wouldn't source my own. I wouldn't go out and source my own. And looking back at my old work, because I'm currently scanning in a lot of my old work in order to release a sketchbook book, an artist book, I felt a little bit removed from a lot of my study work, especially not necessarily the imaginative stuff, but the studies I feel quite detached from, because it's all online. It's all sources that, you know, other artists use, and they're not particularly relevant to me or personal to me. So I've started drawing my own body, which isn't sort of like the most aesthetically pleasing body, but it feels honest. It feels a lot better in a few ways, funnily enough. I'm hoping that this sketchbook is going to be more like a journal, or more like evolution of what's come before. It's stepping away from studying for studying's sake, and beginning to incorporate it in with some of the more imaginative things, a few more fun things. There's still life, there's plants, there's things from video games. So that's this cow's from Katamari, which I've been playing a lot of recently, and this is from Nier Automata, which I've been playing. I've just started and really enjoying. These, the in red, are the cushions from the sofa, from the couch. These are some house plants. This is the washing up that I was yet to do. So sort of incorporating all those things, and it was a very mundane day, but it was a very enjoyable, you know, a couple of pages to draw. And again, just a very mundane sort of day. I went out for a little walk. So in blue, that's a local train yard / garage thing. Got all these big lorries and things like that. So I thought I'd draw some of them. Some flowers from the garden. Some tube of deep heat. I don't know if everywhere has that, but it's basically for my neck because I get sore. And then again, some more life drawing things of myself. And this is going to be a slow burn book as well. It's going to be something that I come back to every day or two and add something new. So again, some figures of myself, and then another house plant that I've got. And I'm going to slowly fill this in. And then lastly, another life drawing of myself. And I don't want to make these too uncomfortable for people. So, you know, there's going to be some privacy things there. And I'm going to start focusing more on individual body parts. But yeah, that's 3, well, 2 and a little bit sketchbooks. I do have a few more kicking around, but I think we'll leave it as that. And for the near future, I'm just going to start doing little doodle videos. So if you have any recommendations of what you'd like to see me draw, I'll consider it, certainly. And I guess we'll leave it there. As always, thanks for watching. If you made it all the way to the end, give it a like, you know, all the usual stuff. You guys know. Also, thank you to my patrons. If you are interested in becoming a patron, again, I'll leave a link in the description, as well as links to my social media accounts and all that sort of stuff. All the usual gubbins, you all know it. Right, so we'll leave it there, and I'll see you hopefully very, very soon. All right, take care. Bye.